you have to have ullage thrusters or something to settle the propellant towards the bottom end of the rocket, so the engines don't suck up gaseous propellant. Like if they don't do either a hot staging event like this, or like what Proton did, what Soyuz does, what Titan II did, if you have to have an ullage thruster, something to, after stage separation, it's now in 0G, it's floating around, and so is the propellant, which means gas bubbles are floating around in there. Now, you don't want to suck those up, so you have to be accelerating. So they have a secondary thruster called an ullage thruster. It'll slowly push the vehicle until the prop settles. Meanwhile, everything's coasting at this point. Everything's coasting, and every second you're coasting, you're traveling further and further away from the launch pad. So literally think about it, it's traveling at that point, we'll say something like 5,000-6,000 kilometers an hour, something like 3,000 or 4,000 miles. Well, probably not. Yeah, 3,000 or 4,000 miles an hour, something around insanely fast, right? Like faster than any jet. And it's every second that it's burning, it's traveling away from where it's hoping to land, not on this mission, but in future missions. So it needs to be able to do its boost back burn, the sooner the better. So in other words, if they can start lighting the engines before stage even separates, and as soon as Starship starts flying away, the booster will continue to burn and do its boost back burn. It can cut off, like, literally, I'm just making up a number, maybe 100 kilometers of downrange distance that it then doesn't need to make up on the way back. So every second that it's traveling away, it's going to have to, burn and redo that and cancel out that distance and that velocity and come back and land. So if it doesn't have to do that, the sooner it can turn around and be boosting back towards land, the less work it has to do that. So the more propellant you can actually use to put the Starship into orbit and put things into orbit. So it's like a cat and mouse game. The less propellant you need to do for your boost back burn and your return to launch site landing and your landing itself, the more work that booster can do. But it's so funny because if you also do more work with the booster, it ironically is further away, so it requires more propellant. Right. So it's like this whole trade of there's a sweet spot of it's done as much work as feasible, and it kind of becomes diminishing returns at some point, especially for a return to launch site landing. Our Planetary Society camera is freaking gorgeous.
That's awesome.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. So now you're getting a sense of what that actually looks like.
Right. This is the view. It's just gorgeous.
By the way, are we into another section yet of flight? We should be coming up on what are we coming up on here, by the way?
Just let me check this out.
We should T-minus 20 minutes, which is in 20 minutes, we should begin to see Raptor engine chill on the booster, which will be visible at the base of the rocket if our cameras permit. They are pretty occluded, again, by the condensation. And I should remind people, what you're seeing on screen, that's not smoke. That is literally condensation. It's because the propellant on board the rocket is so cold that it comes in contact with the air. The air molecules, condense the atmosphere and turn it into like little ice particles. And we're seeing literally like clouds of vapor around the launch pad because the launch pad is currently so cold. Mm-hmm. If you walked through that right now, you'd be like, you would need a jacket. You would, it'd be very cold. I've actually been on a launch pad or a test stand, I guess, right after firing a Hydrolox engine. Everything is iced over. There's frost everywhere. It's slippery and icy.
Where
and
was
like
this?
This was at Stoke Space.
Oh, cool.
So out in Washington.
Yeah.
It was after they fired their amazing Ring engine. That's like the coolest thing in the world. Aerospike for the win, hopefully. And I just loved it. And after they did that, the test, everything was frosted over and it was all cold. There's, all the pipes are like freezing still. Like if you touched it, it's just absolutely crazy. Yeah. Let's see. This is a question from Dan. Are there flight termination systems on crewed rockets? Super excited for today's launch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The flight termination system is there to protect the public. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if this rocket went astray, we expect and we want and we deserve for the rocket to be able to terminate before its trajectory would make it over towards South Padre Island, Port Isabel, Brownsville, Matamoros, any populated areas. We don't want this giant thing flying towards people. And even morbidly, even if there were people on board without, like the Falcon 9 has a flight termination system.
Yeah.
Falcon 9 has the Crew Dragon capsule has on board the Super Draco system that can pull the rocket away. If they were to terminate the rocket, boom, the crew's safe.
This was the first, when they first tested that, just before sending humans back to space from this country, for the first time since the end of the shuttle era, during the in-flight abort test, that's when we first started working together.
Yes.
And that was the thing that we witnessed.
Yes, was the test of that abort system.
Yeah.
So
keep the humans on board safe and keep the humans everywhere safe.
Everywhere safe. And that's what the FAA is most concerned about. Frankly, these are all considered experimental. Every rocket launch, even today, is still not under the same rules and regulations as an airliner because it is a different regime of spaceflight. It's more experimental. It's more dangerous, higher risk. And morbidly, like the Challenger crew, they did have to terminate the boosters.
Yes, so sad.
After the vehicle broke up. Now, at that point, obviously, you do still have to protect the public because those boosters were out of control. They're free flying, detached from the rocket. Now, and in my case, flying on Starship, I will be flying on this vehicle someday. I hope we need to see a certain level of reliability and a certain level of, I've done a video on, should Starship have an abort system?
Yeah.
I still would love to see it.
Yeah.
If you're launching and landing with Starship, I would love to see an abort system integrated. And that was my thoughts with that video. As it stands right now, I still am on that fence. Like, I would still prefer that. But there are some huge differences between this vehicle and the space shuttle that makes it a lot better, a lot less risky. One of the biggest things with the space shuttle was that the orbiter with the heat shield was dangling off the side of the rocket, which meant that ice and foam from the external fuel tank could strike the vehicle.
Right.
And obviously, the space shuttle being an aluminum frame was really sensitive. If there was heat shields missing, it would burn through and completely destroy the vehicle, which unfortunately is what we saw with Columbia.
Yeah.
Starship being made out of stainless steel is not as prone to that. I believe if it was missing heat shield tiles, it would survive intact for reentry. Now, it might not be reusable. You wouldn't want to do that over and over and over again. But I do believe it would be in a lot better shape than say the space shuttle. Also, solid rocket boosters and human spaceflight is always confusing to me because you cannot turn solid rocket boosters off.
Yeah.
Which, of course, the space shuttle famously had 2 huge solid rocket boosters. SLS has 2 huger solid rocket boosters. Boeing Starliner has 2 smaller solid rocket boosters on the Atlas V rocket. Now, I'm not saying, again, I don't know the numbers on that, but it has been studied. Obviously, NASA has a threshold. All of those things is studied and observed. And even things like, if they have to terminate the solid rocket booster engines, there's a debris field of still burning propellant that if the parachute lines would go through that, they had to study all that stuff for Ares 1. And so they've had to make a lot of improvements to, it's a whole topic. Like, flight abort is not as fail-safe as it seems, and it can actually be still fairly dangerous, and it can add risk. So, watch that video. If you want to learn more about that, should Starship have an abort system, I do have a really deep dive video on that. Yeah. Also, SpaceX is live. We will be able to pull that in here as soon as that's refreshed. I will see if I can also do that here as well, because I do want to make sure we are hearing that. Oh, baby. It is live. If it's easier for you... Oh, I think we're going to have it here. I don't know if Andrew Keating's here.
He is in the middle of working getting a new camera online.
Cool.
Okay. He's right here. He's right here, he says, from the other room. Okay, I don't know how he's everywhere at once.
I don't know how he is everywhere at once.
I just saw him downstairs.
We're excited to hear the SpaceX audio as soon as it's feasible. Would be awesome. Yeah, it's they are streaming only on X, which is understandable because it's Elon's company. Mm-hmm. Like, if I owned a video playing platform / social media company, I get why. I do get it. It'd be like I said the other day. It'd be akin to him driving. A Ford or something, probably not something he's going to do as the owner of Tesla,
Right.
So, we will have their audio in here. We also pull up what we can and what we feel is necessary once we lose views. We do have incredible tracking assets, though.
I'm so excited.
If you liked our telescope from last time, get ready for 3 times that.
Yeah.
Because we have some amazing tracking assets. And the sun is continuing to rise. And I mean, this is like, look at that.
Oh, yes. This is a Mr. T-Cam here, or MRT. We're calling it MRT.
Yep, MRT. Or I still think
mobile reconnaissance trailer.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
I still think it should be like Sojourner or
Viking 3.
Yeah, something. That's my personal opinion.
All right.
What do I know, though?
We'll settle on it soon.
What do I know?
I would love to know what everyone else thinks. What should we call our remote camera
And the reason we
trailer?
call it Mr. T is because it's T-shaped at the top.
Yeah, inside joke.
Yeah, but it's also been lovingly known as Mr. Trailer.
Mr. Trailer,
Which I
yeah, I
absolutely
love
love.
that. Mr. Trailer's good.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. The views are just getting better and better and better. Sunrise, still, again, guys, sunrise is coming up in 20 minutes. So just get ready for even better. Holy cow. Like our Tellus, like our Mr. T Telly shot, our Mr. T wide shots are really starting to come alive.
Yeah.
And it is incredible. Sapphire wide, our planetary cam is great. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, we don't have... hang on. You talk for a little bit. I'm going to answer some questions for the team here. Let's how about answer this one from David Louise. Is there a dummy payload in the ship like a Tesla Roadster or on Falcon Heavy?
I wish there was. I don't believe there is. We have not been told that there is. And I think that right now the SpaceX team is just really focused on let's just test this ship. They don't care about anything else. No
By the way, you
frills.
said test this ship, just to make
Test
sure.
this ship.
Yeah, I just want to. It sounded like
definitely
test
said
this,
that.
Test the ship. You know, if you
Test
say it very
the
quick,
ship.
it's funny. Whoa, nice pop on the P.
Yeah, there you go. But I'd like to know, like, what are they going to? I think the next payload that they will launch, according to everyone's information, is some Starlinks. Right?
Version 2.
Starlink version 2.
Bigger,
Yeah.
badder, heavier, bigger, badder, better.
Which flight do you think that will happen on? I mean, surely they're not just going to do it on such a preliminary test flight. They're going to wait until perhaps
Well, the funny thing for them, I don't think they'd mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if
wouldn't
there were
wanna throw
Starlink
away.
satellites in here because it's SpaceX. They're building
Right.
these things that who cares?
Yeah,
They're-
it's
you know.
true.
But
Pumping 'em out.
right now they don't have a way to deploy them.
Yeah.
There's no
Doesn't
opening
make
mechanism,
sense.
and they're not ready to do that yet. Why would they waste the engineering and the risk of deployment mechanism things if they're not even to that point yet?
Right.
So, so there are no known payloads on board. We hope to at least get a sense of if that's, you know.
I do wonder what the next fun payload will be, though. I mean, I don't know how you can top Starman in the
Yeah,
Tesla.
no. Cybertruck. I feel like
Oh,
Elon.
yeah, that'll be
stainless
super
steel.
fun.
Like,
Yeah.
say what you will about Cybertruck, but stainless steel.
What are you saying about Cybertruck? It's so awesome. I can't wait to get one.
I mean, it is. It's cool. Like, you know, but people hate it.
Oh, man. I remember when it came out on stage, I was like, this has to be a joke because I
know.
love this. I feel like this was designed for me.
Really?
And then I was surprised that so many people did love it.
Oh,
and then
I was
it
at the
real.
event and I wanted to throw up.
Really?
I hated
oh,
it.
I love it so
I
much.
literally
That's so
was like
funny.
laughing,
No.
and I was in the crowd, and most people were just like, "What the explicit is this?"
Whoa.
And then
No.
I like
Grew on you?
I mourned the next morning. Like I went to bed and I was just like, I can't believe.
No way.
I thought it was just the ugliest thing. And for whatever freak reason, the more I see it, and this is not like this is just I thought the same thing about the Model 3. I hated the Model 3 when I first saw it. Actually.
Oh, you love the Model 3 now.
Yeah, of course.
Come on.
But I kind of have warmed up. I don't think it's as bad as I thought.
Well
And
done.
fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damage engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damaged engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damaged engines. So for these fast cooling and maybe damaged engines.
Make sure we have lens wipes.
North Beach is in a funky mode right now. Look at it's all like wackadoo in our.
That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Rocket art.
Warp vision. Right now, North Beach.
Oh,
now is when you're like, yeah, I just want to go down.
The Planetary Society cam's awesome though.
Yeah.
Maybe we can pull that.
Yeah, that is the shot of the. Ooh, look at that too. Which one is that? Sorry, I'm getting.
This is on Mr. T.
That's the tracker. No, that's not Mr. T. That's one of the trackers. Yeah, that's the Sapphire tracker.
Oh, no way.
One of our trackers. We have, oh my word.
That's John Pisani's tracker.
Yes, I love it. Oh, this is getting me so excited. And again, these are all going to be recorded in 4K or 8K, 120 frames a second or higher. Like I think our minimum recording frame rate is 100. So you guys have seen our footage before, I'm sure. You've also seen, Cosmic Perspectives footage. Same thing, tomato. Edited differently. We put them up on our respective YouTube channels.
Yes.
But, this is a joint collaborative effort between ourselves and Cosmic Perspective, which has just been an incredible... I mean, I'm so thankful for this partnership.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen our compilations, I think we have... Outside of SpaceX, because obviously SpaceX has cameras up the butt. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras all over everything.
And they got more this time.
And they have more this time. They have more everything. I would say, though, outside of SpaceX, we definitively have the best footage. We have cameras, high-speed footage, 4K at least, everywhere.
This is our commitment. This is what we live for.
This is where all of our money goes.
Also that.
So thank you again for those of you that... Oh, by the way, yeah, it does look like SpaceX, LOX load and CH4 load, so Methalox load is almost complete on Starship, by the way. And it's about 70% full on the booster as well. So we are well into fueling. We're 25 minutes out. I'm gonna pee at T-minus 20 minutes.
That's a very good idea. Well, that's in 5 minutes. So
yeah,
prepare yourself.
Yeah, I am preparing. I do really need to hear the SpaceX audio. I don't know where we're at with that. I might just pull it up here. Actually, I could probably pull up. How about you take over the show? I'll take a quick $5. I have an idea for how at least I can pull in my thing, and you go ahead and answer some questions.
All right. Let me see if I can pull up the stuff. I wish I had your situation.
Would you like
I want to pull up the cam. Oh, should I just sit over there?
Pull up a cam?
I want to pull up the cameras. I want to see the mission control. I feel like that's a good time. Go. Go. I'll figure myself out.
I got it pulled up here, and the feeds are refreshed, so I want to see if we have more cameras showing up online. All right, I'll be right back. Mary Liz Shalinsky, everybody. Cosmic Perspective.
Hello.
We'll be right back.
Hello.
Well, I'll be right back.
All right. I want to just say a quick thank you so much to our incredible Discord team. You all have been crushing it. I know we have not made it so easy on you, but this has been great. All right. Let's see. If y'all want to push something to me. Oh, reloading.
Hi, Master Ian. You are super awesome indeed. Your phone is charged for 30 minutes at 42% battery level. Shall we continue charging?
Thank you for covering... I'm sorry, this is from Richard Kinkead. Thank you for covering this. The next generation needs to see this, so thanks. Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, we have been doing this for several years, and I think it's hard for the general public to understand just how quickly the pace of new spaceflight has been progressing, and the evolution is exponential. So we're about to see the most incredible things happen. The most incredible things in human history are taking place right before our very eyes, and this is a big part of it. So that's why we're so passionate about dedicating all of our time and all of our lives to bringing all of this to you. And so we're really hopeful that this does inspire the next generation. And I think that is true. And the really cool thing is that the SpaceX team has been working so hard for so many years making incredible progress, revolutionizing.
Okay, Master Aston, done charging at 43% battery level, and as always, I'm glad to be of service.
So many others to get involved. So I totally agree with you, and I think it's all happening. All right, from Renosian, thank you so much.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
T-minus just over 8 minutes to the first test flight of Starship. Currently, we are pressurizing second stage. We are also closing out liquid oxygen and fuel header loads on the second.
Actually in the same zone where during IFT-1 you saw these massive chunks of concrete launch into vans and cameras and everything. But we feel really confident about this time because SpaceX has been working really hard on making major ground stage 0 ground equipment. Everything has been wildly improved. So for example, one of the main upgrades is that they implemented a proper water deluge system, and that's going to help quite a lot. I don't think we're going to see the crazy rock tornado this time. They have definitely improved a lot of the ground equipment.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think that we're going to have to bunker down. I think we're good on this one.
Yeah.
I am feeling pretty confident about all that work.
Well, you can see the difference. We actually have an A/B comparison on YouTube here. You can find an A/B comparison of deluge versus no deluge static.
Right, big difference.
Huge difference. Even just the dust is greatly reduced. So, yeah, big difference.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I gotta take a big, tall drink of water right now.
I always start with the comments from the bottom up. I don't know why I do that. Apologies.
We're very behind. We are definitely missing some super chats, and I'm so sorry. When we do miss these, we are quite overwhelmed right now. I mean, amazing support from everybody. Thank you all so much for all of those of you that are tuning in. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you guys. I mean, we just couldn't.
No.
Having you all here to watch this with us means the world, and we're so proud of being able to do this in 4K. It's been a lot. It's very difficult to do with these remote locations. We have assets that are miles and miles away, 5, even some that are 7, 8 miles. So again, 8 to 12 kilometers away. I mean, we're talking some pretty vast distances to be able to broadcast 4K. It's very difficult. But what's I'm most excited for, too, is the recording of all of these cameras.
Yes.
We have views all over the place. You're only seeing a handful right now, but we have views galore that are amazing tracking assets. Oh, my gosh. Oh.
What you got?
Rio Tracker.
My
Your boy.
husband.
Your husband's camera is online.
Yay. He's online.
He's online.
He's there.
He's
he is
there.
Tracking.
Okay, if we can show that shot real quick, just we gotta pop
Tracker.
Patty in. It is amazing. This is from the south. We should mention too, by the way, every shot we have on air, and period, not off air. We don't have any.
We don't have
everything we do is with explicit permission and with SpaceX. So obviously there is some public land out here, and even public land there and Fish and Wildlife area. We don't have any cameras that are not on private land or with explicit permission for SpaceX. This particular tracker is in a place.
Oh, that looks good.
Isn't that incredible? From the south, so that we have that vantage point. I mean, that's incredible.
Cow.
Ryan's going to have.
He's going to have the
tracking
show
shot.
of his life.
Yeah, this is what he's wanted his whole life.
This
something
is all
like
he's
this,
ever wanted,
and he's getting it. Yeah. I
I'm
know,
a little
isn't that awesome? He's going to. I'm so excited, and it's so incredible that even from that far away, we have 4K assets coming back in, and of course, again, recorded. So, if we happen to lose a link here or there, bear with us. Last time, what was so hard for us running the show, so many of our cameras got knocked out by the launch.
Yeah, totally.
That the switcher, the producer Andrew, scrambled. He's literally every shot he was about to go to is gone.
Well, hopefully that won't be the case today.
That won't be the case today. So much stuff is dissimilar redundancy. So we have so many cameras that are totally on different systems that we're using. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how we had to sync all this stuff up and everything. It is insane, and it's been an insane amount of work. So thank you guys again so much for joining us. Let's see. Are we at T-minus? Is our
It's
clock
almost
18? Why does our clock say 18?
no. It says
Oh, it
T
says
minus
16, okay.
16:39. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
So it's soon. In just a couple minutes here, we should probably pull up our mission control dashboard and do a go no go internal everyday astronaut go no go poll
for
where
all
we
of our
check out
camera
our
recording
assets. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we get
also-
the audio
oh boy.
delay.
I don't know if that's going to air. It'd be great if it was something
All of my
intentional.
music. Yeah. If it was like an Anu show, that
or
would be
if, like,
very
we're like,
intentional.
And the booster will hopefully survive. Like that would have been cool. I don't know if that went to air at all, but that is hilarious.
We had an awesome delay in our ears.
Yes, we sure did. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure. You know what? I'm gonna do this thing where I am listening to the official SpaceX feed. Oh,
Nice work, Keating.
I hear it.
Also, I believe that your mother, someone named Cindy Dodd, just sent in a donation.
Mom. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mom. She did. She sent $50. Mom, you don't have
That's
to
a
do
lot.
that, you stinker.
Oh.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I miss my family already. No, I just saw them. I'm such a...
That's
I
good.
love my family.
Oh.
So, I don't know. We did have the audio for a second there, Keating, and we did have it in our ears slightly. I would love to hear that. And
Here we can see basically the legs of the launch mount. This is what holds Starship and all of its mass. It holds Starship during ignition,